guys, Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today we are going to be doing a project using this gorgeous Hunkydory collection. This is your My Fair Lady collection. This actually came with the magazine. I presume that they do the kit separately, but they put a sampling of it in the magazine, and so I thought how pretty it was and that I would make a card from it. So I picked out a piece of the cardstock that was also in the kit that came with the magazine to complement this. Now you can see that it works really well because they've actually used it for the background. And then I've taken a piece of acetate, you will see why later. This is also Hunkydory. They had two types. They've got this softer acetate and then they've got the stronger acetate, which is great for your card bases. So I wouldn't waste that thicker, heavier acetate on what I'm doing today. It isn't necessary, so I've just gone for that lighter one. And then I have got three colours of cardstock here in gorgeous lavenders and different tones of lavender, so we'll see what we end up needing. Okay, so let's first of all make our topper to go on our card. Normally I would do it the other way around and I would make the card base first, but because I'm not entirely sure how the sizing is going to work out, I want to make the topper part first, just so that I can be positive that I don't make a card the wrong shape even, let alone the wrong size, because I'm not even sure whether I want a square card base or I was going to say round, I don't want round, or a oblong. Okay, so let's put my acetate to one side and my pattern cardstock, and then let's pop out the pieces we need. So, I mean, on one sheet you get so much. So I'm going to use this little lady here, and so I'm just going to take my craft knife, and just where there are notches, you can pull it out, but I don't like to risk tearing and just leaving like an untidy mark. So let's just pop that out. So isn't she gorgeous? Okay, and then I'm going to leave these two together for a minute. This silver piece here on the, you've got like a edge here, and that piece actually comes away as well, but again I'm not sure exactly whether I need that or not, so best to leave it until you know. Okay, that should come out perfect. So there we go. And then I actually want this frame here, and so again I'm just going to do these notches, and here's my lovely frame. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay, so I'm thinking that I don't want this frame either, so let's just get rid of that now. Okay, so let's put that there, and then I want to put some acetate behind these. So we're just going to cut a square that's just very slightly smaller than our frame. So let's just get our cutter here and then just measure up. So my frame is 5 inches square, so we'll do, let's try and see what 4.5 inches would do. So line that up, just see with that, yeah, I think 4.5 inches will be a good size. And acetate's so lovely to cut, it just glides through. Okay, so that's going to sit nicely behind that piece there. Now we've got some little corners, I don't know if you can see, that are just, I don't think you can see them, they're just popping, oh there we go, they're just popping out. So all I'm going to do is take my scissors and I'm just going to pop that across like that, so I can see roughly that I'm not going to cut into the bit that's over there. centerpiece, and then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut the corners off. Okay, so now I know roughly what I'm doing. And that just, you don't need to fiddle around with kind of doing the same shape because it really doesn't need it. It's sticking behind, it's not going to show, so that's perfect. Look, it's going to fit there beautifully. Okay, so that's that one done. So I will stick that down in a minute. Let's do the cutting first. So now we've got the second one to cut our acetate for, and that is just under 5 inches. So it's 4 7/8. So if we did again 4.5, that should still be okay. It is a thinner frame, so we need it to be bigger on the inside than the other one, so the 4.5 will give us that margin. There we go. Perfect. So I'm just taking a little piece off each corner, and the last one. So let's just check that. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm just going to get some adhesive and stick these down before it gets confused as to which one belongs with which. So I'm just going to use my Cosmic Shimmer. I'm just going to be quite cautious with what I put down because I don't want it squelching out into the front of onto our acetate. So I'm just being very circumspect, and then I'm just going to go with my finger and dab it so that again it's hopefully going to stop it squelching out. And then I better just make sure my finger's clean before I touch my acetate. And then we'll grab the acetate and pop it in position. Perfect. So hopefully you can see, because it's acetate, it's so hard to, oh there we go, hopefully you can see that line there. So we've just got it coming down the edge and across the top there, so that's all in place. There it is on the front now, you can see, isn't that pretty? Okay, so now we'll do our second one. Okay, so I've played around and I've just popped these in position like this. So I need to just now stick these down, stick these together. So let's, oh, and I took a little tag, and that's the other little lady on there, so I used her. So it's from here around. Again, we've got the same thing, that we don't want the adhesive to pop out over the acetate. So I'm doing it a little bit far back, and then I'm just going to go over with my finger just to smooth that out, so that hopefully that stops it from squelching through onto the acetate. And then just pop that down. Okay, so I think that looks really good, stuck like that. I think that looks really effective. So now we're going to put our lady in. Now I think I'm going to use some 3D foam for that, just to give her a little bit of a lift. So just popping that all around the edges, and then a piece in the centre as well, so that there's no risk of it sagging in the post. There we go. So then we're going to pop that on like so. I think that just is so pretty. And then I've got my little tag, and I was going to put that just down there. Now that one I want to go on flat, so I'm just going to use my Cosmic Shimmer. Okay, and then I've got this cute little ribbon, and I thought that would be so pretty just to stick down on there. So again, just using some Cosmic Shimmer, I'm just going to pop that in position like so, and I think that looks really nice. There we go. Okay, and then I found these gorgeous little buttons. I was looking for the ribbon, and that was a pre-tied ribbon. I've got like a little box with them, and next door to that box was my little button box, and I just happened to see some purple buttons, so I thought these would look really nice just going down here. Okay, so I was going to stick these down with the Cosmic Shimmer, and it did work fine on this one and actually one of the other buttons, but the other button has got like a lump on the back. They're all natural sort of shell, and so it wouldn't sit down flat. It would have been okay, it would have stayed, but I wasn't convinced that it was as safe as it could have been. So I've got my pin flare, and for a change I've actually remembered to put it in the syringe, which does make it a lot simpler. So then I'm just going to put a blob down there and a blob down there, and then we can pop our buttons in place. So this is the bumpy one, and I think this is going to make a massive difference, and actually it gives it a little bit of dimension, which is quite nice as well. And then we'll put the second one in position. All the glue on the that's just come through, all the glue, there's a tiny little bit of glue that's come through the buttonholes there. They will dry off clear, so there's no problem there. And then you just leave that in their syringe. It won't dry long as you make sure you put the top on, so it's really cool. Okay, so there's our buttons done, and I think they look really nice. I think it has a nice little element to it. So now I'm just going to pop this piece to one side while it dries, and we're going to make our card base. Okay, so to make my card base, I'm going to take this lavender piece of card, and I just think it's a really pretty colour, and I'm going to take my trimmer here, which is also a scoreboard. Now this is A4, which is a pain in the butt because it's not precise for folding in half, or easily to fold in half. So it's just past 11.5 inches according to this, so I am going to take a smidgen off to make it exactly 11.5 inches, and that way it will, let's say that was 11, there we go, 11.5 inches, and that way that will make it just that little bit easier to fold it. So it's just a tiny slither like that, but that just means that now it's going to be precisely 5 3/4 to score. So at 5 3/4, and it comes with the little tool up the top here. So then I'm going to put that over like so, put that up to there, and then score it. Now we're making an easel card, so we need to score it at the halfway mark, and then we need to score this section at halfway as well. So halfway here, because it's a 5 3/4 gap, is 2 7/8, so it's a bit of an odd number. Okay, so now let's just fold these, make sure it's nice and straight. There we go, and then we want to fold the top section, which makes the easel card. And this is 350 GSM, so it's a very heavyweight cardstock, so it's going to be a really nice feel. Okay, so there's our easel, so that looks like that. So you can see whatever card shape that you want to do, if you fold in half and then fold the next section in half again, you create your easel card. Now obviously, because we folded it, the colour is on the inside, so we need to put a piece of colour here. So all I need to do is take my Cosmic Shimmer, put that on there. It's nice, whoops, nice and strong. There we go. So that's on that piece there. Now I know on my pattern piece of cardstock that I want this piece at the bottom of my card on the base, so I'm going to put the top end up on here. Okay, and then I'm probably, to be honest, I was going to use my trimmer, but I think it's probably just safer and easier to use a pair of scissors, because with the trimmer, if you get it wrong, you'll cut the top off your folded piece, and then you'll end up with not a folded piece but just a loose piece of card. There we go. And there is the front piece of our card there, all nicely, and it matches beautifully with our lavender. And in fact, I think what I want to do is now sort this piece out. So I want to take a little edge off this piece so that it's slightly smaller. So this, I want to say, take about 1/4 of an inch off. So if that's there, so it's about 8 1/4. So if I take it down to 8 inches wide and trim that, when I pop that on there, you can see then a nice little edge of the lavender just popping through. And obviously we've got it up on here anyway, so when they open the card they're going to see it up there. So then I'm just going to turn this over, and I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to mark where the fold is so that I know where to trim rather than trying to measure. And that's again a safer option so that you can be sure that it's going to fit. I suddenly had a panic that I was cutting the wrong edge. That would have been awful. There we go. So that then sits like so. And what I really should have done, and I may still do because I've got the space, I'm going to take a little piece off the front here, just about 1/8 of an inch, just to take, so that's about 5 1/2. So if I take it to 5 1/4, I just want to take a little piece of the purple off the front so that we've got this line here a little further forward, like that. And then when I put my stopper in for my easel card, that's going to be in a really nice position, and I can line it up over the line that's already there. So then taking my Cosmic Shimmer, like so, and then we're going to make sure it lines up nicely at the front, because the back really doesn't show that much. There. So then that will be where my stopper position is, and that's just so pretty with that lavender showing through. Okay, so I took this border from that one sheet again, and that is going to be my stopper. Now it's quite narrow, so it's too narrow for your foam tape unless you cut it up. So I'm just going to use my glue gel. So just before we do that, I'm going to pop that down like so, and then just cut it on each end so that it fits before we start, because otherwise it's just going to be a fiddle to try and cut that to size. And then I'm just going to get my pin flare that's in its tube, which is obviously got to be a lot simpler, and then put little bobs. Okay, so I'm just going to grab that and pop it down there, like so. There we go. And that's all 3D'd. Okay, and then if I show you from there, oops, you can see it's not very high. It's just enough that it's going to catch that and stop it sliding forward once it's dry. Obviously, I'm not going to do it now while it's still wet. Okay, and then we've got a little happy birthday. So I thought that would look nice just in the corner here. So I'm just going to grab some Cosmic Shimmer and pop the little happy birthday down there. Now you could use that as your stopper, but I'm just using it to break that piece up there. So that looks really nice, I think. So once that's dry, that's going to hold that in position lovely, just like that. I'm not going to do it for too long, but that's what it's going to do. Okay, so now what we need to do is put our topper on that we created, and that's going to go on the front like so. So as you can see, we've got nice bits there that are see-through, which look really pretty, but you need to consider a couple of things. First of all, you don't want it so far down that your topper that you've made is disappearing behind the stopper. So you need to make sure that you've got enough of a gap here. And then what you also need to make sure is that when you position your topper and then you flatten it out for posting, that it doesn't go above the top of your card here, unless of course you're going to have a huge envelope. So now I'm just going to stick this down and I'm going to work out the position. So I'm just going to look, and I reckon if it's just kind of that there, it's going to be perfect. So I need to glue to about there on these sections here, and I'm going to use my pin flare because it's really strong. Okay, now when I'm not trying to get any dimension, there we go. Now hopefully that's going to be fine. So we'll just grab that and grab our card base. Oops, bending it like it's crazy. Now you could wait if you wanted to till your stopper is dried, and that would make it probably a bit easier. So because it's glue gel, you really don't need to do much pressing. It just sticks down, it's just there. So I'm just giving it a tiny press, but I don't want to go mad because I don't want it to squidge through to the bits that are acetate. So there we go. And that's just sitting perfectly behind our stopper, and then when we fold it down, it's perfect position for our card base, our envelope I should say. So I'm not letting the stopper do its work, as I say, because I want it to dry completely. But the last thing I want to do is just add a little bit of glitter. So I've got this grape ice here, and I think that's just really pretty. So let's put a little bit on our stopper here. It's like so. There we go, look at that, pretty. And then I'm going to just go around the circle of our happy birthday. Like so, and then a little bit on our buttons. There you go. And then just on her hat here on the feather. and then on the lace of her dress. There we go, and then just a tiny bit on this lady here. So a little on her hat feather and a little on her dress collar. There we go. Isn't that pretty? And then a finishing touch, I just add a couple of little pearls to the centre of our buttons there, and then I want to add 3 little pearls in this lavender colour just on this bit here as well, and they'll stick into the Stickles glue gel, so that'll be fine. It's just a little detail, but I think it just is a nice finishing touch. There you go. Okay, so here is our finished card, and I think it just looks really pretty. I really like it, and I always like how Hunkydory turns out. I think when you start with such good materials you can't really go wrong, but I do think this looks really nice. I love the way that the bits are see-through and it's kind of a nice sort of illusion, and I always love easel cards as well. So I hope you've enjoyed making this card with me. I hope you like the finished result. I'd love to hear your comments, or if you like it, do give the video a thumbs up, that would be fab. And also don't forget to pop over to the blog post that corresponds with this, because there's loads more photographs and information there for you as well. Okay, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.